Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today we're going to be revisiting Katana Zero. Now, this is a game that came out just about a year ago at this point. I played it a bunch when it came out. I'd get all of the achievements for it as well back when it was on release, but then not too long after its release, they also added in a speedrun mode through which you could also play the hard mode of the game. Now, I didn't know that this update happened way back when it actually came out. I only learned about its existence about 6 months ago or something like that. And I tried playing through the speedrun mode a couple of times. I did play through the speedrun mode a few times, but I never got the time required in order to get the gold medal, which to get the speedrun achievement, you do need to get a gold medal speedrun. Now, I've done it a bunch of times over the last few months here or there, and if I add up all of my times together, then I do get that gold medal, but you do need to do it in one run, of course, to get the actual achievement, so I'm still working on that one. Now, when it came down to hard mode, I hadn't ever tried hard mode, because I was like, okay, I first want to go and get speedrun mode done, because that is something that I really enjoyed. But on the other hand, I was like, you know what, might as well try hard mode first, because it seems like that's probably going to be a little bit easier to finish, because you can just, of course, die as many times if you want. Hard mode, you just need to finish. It doesn't matter how fast you finish it in, even though it is only available in that speedrun mode. So, last few days, I did 2 streams with hard mode. Took me about 5 hours or so to complete. And I had to say, it was frustrating as heck. It was so difficult. It was pretty much like a completely different game that you were playing, and some of the maps where you're just speeding through because there's not really that many enemies, or the ones that are there aren't really a challenge, like for example the jail section. Like in the normal mode, when you play through it takes you like 1 minute to complete the map because there's no enemies there almost, and the ones that are there, like, they don't even pay attention to you that much. There's even an achievement for getting past all the enemies without being seen, which was a lot of fun to try. But then when you do it on hard mode, that was one of the more difficult levels for me to complete because I'm so used to not having anything there, and now the enemies that were there were very challenging. And there were also new different types of enemies that were introduced as well, which I think made it just a completely different experience, and you had to approach all of the different rooms in a completely different way, because sometimes even the rooms were modified with having bonus lasers here or there and that kind of stuff, and as well as the boss fights, they got new moves and stuff as well, which I thought was a lot of fun, and it basically felt like playing a completely new game again, with of course all of the good things that Katana Zero had, because this is a game that I enjoyed for a multitude of reasons. First of all, it looks amazing. I am someone that really enjoys this indie looking pixel art style. The music was great as well. The story was actually incredibly interesting in my opinion, because there was a lot of mystery involved with it. It was very mysterious, you were going through it, and because your character himself also doesn't know everything that's happening to him, because he has amnesia and that kind of stuff, it made for a very interesting playthrough of you trying to figure out the story. And one of the cool things as well is that you can branch into multiple things, like there's a secret boss that you can get by doing certain things in a certain way. Depending on what you do with certain dialogue options, stuff will change later down the line as well, which I thought was incredibly cool. There's also a couple of achievements that are attached to these dialogue options as well, where you have to do something in a certain level, and then in a later level you'll actually get to do something with an NPC again in order to get the achievement or something like that, which I thought was incredibly fun. So story was great, music is great, the art style just fits my kind of liking, so to speak. But then the gameplay, that is of course one of the biggest things when it comes down to a game like this, and I think it was freaking fantastic. You have iframes with your dodge roll, but then in the hard mode, even your dodge roll wasn't safe anymore against certain enemies. You only have 1 HP, all of your enemies have 1 HP, and it basically makes for a very fast, very exciting gameplay style, because you are pretty much one shot from dying, but on the other hand so are your enemies. So it kind of becomes like, do you play it safe, do you ambush your enemies so that they don't see you coming, or do you go into a room guns blazing, or katana blazing in this case, and just hack them all up before they get a chance to shoot you or something like that. So it's a very exciting gameplay style. It's something that I've really enjoyed. Currently, I'm still working here or there to try and get that speedrun achievement done. Maybe once I do finally finish the speedrun achievement, I might also upload the speedrun myself or something like that on the channel if people would be interested in seeing that. The gameplay you're seeing in the background is me trying to speedrun through it earlier today. I think I came 2-3 minutes short or something like that. But seeing how I hadn't speedrun the game in a very long time, I think it was kind of alright, and I'm definitely seeing a lot of improvements now after having beaten the hard mode of the game itself, because hard mode made me think about things a lot differently, made me better reactively or something like that as well. So basically, I've gotten quite a lot better by completing the hard mode. So if you're somebody that's been playing this game as well, and you want to try and get the speedrun achievement, do a run of hard mode first. The enemies in the rooms are completely different, like where they're located and that kind of stuff, so it might throw you off if you go back to try and speedrun it. But on the other hand, you are going to be learning how to deal with a whole lot more enemies and a lot more hazards on the map. And it's basically going to make it a lot easier for you to run through the game again when you do play on the normal mode, which is what the normal speedrun mode is on, of course, because you don't need to speedrun the hard mode in order to get the achievement, because then I 100% would not get that achievement. But luckily enough, normal mode is just enough to get that one done. So that's something that I'm going to be working on the next few days. I'm going to probably play here or there a run today as well, and maybe finish it, who knows, because the run that I did earlier was relatively close. I know a couple of new tactics that I want to try on some of the rooms as well, so that they can get a little bit more consistent, because that's what speedrunning is all about, building consistency, making sure that you can go through each map as successfully as possible without dying all that much here or there. So hopefully I can get that done later today, or maybe in the next few days. I don't really mind all that much because I love playing this game, and I wouldn't mind playing through it an extra 2, 3 or 4 times here or there to get that last achievement done. And then it's basically just waiting until they update it again. Do they add some DLC? Like, for example, there is a second character you can play, the dragon, which is, I don't think you'll see it in the gameplay in the background, but there is one level where you get to play as him, and he's incredibly fun because he gets a new special attack that you can use, which was a lot of fun to use. So maybe if they put in a DLC where you can play as the dragon for all of the different levels, that would be incredibly cool. Or maybe they just make some new levels, make a new story around the game, make a completely new game with the same gameplay type with a new story or something like that. I would definitely be all for that, because this game was great, and I really wish that there would be more for me to play, basically, because playing through the same game multiple times in a row can get a little bit stale. Of course, I'm still going to do it for that speedrun achievement, and even then, once I'm done with doing the speedrun achievement, I'll probably still play it here or there if I would just want to have half an hour, 45 minutes of just pure fun, because that is pretty much what this game is. It's just such a blast to play, and if they ever were to get some DLC or a continuation of the story or something like that in a different game, then I would be all for it, because the game was just amazing. So that's pretty much that for me. Katana Zero, amazing game, cannot recommend it enough if you're somebody that's looking for something to play right now. I think it took me about 8 hours or so to get through the game for the first time. I now have 25 hours on record. Just trying to go to doing the speedrun, going through hard mode. I think hard mode took me 5 hours to complete or something like that. But yeah, so there's basically a lot of content for you to enjoy in this game, whether it is just playing through it once for the story, whether it is playing through it another 5 times to try and get all of these achievements done, or whether it is to try and get the speedrun achievement and the hard mode done as well. Definitely gets a recommendation from me. But that's gonna be it for me. I want to thank you for watching, I want to thank my Patreons for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.